My name is Ichiro Matsuyama. I'm 19 years old and I'm working at a soba noodle restaurant. It's been 4 years since I started working here, so I can do almost everything. Oh, hang on, some of you sharp viewers might be thinking, what, 4 years? You've been working at this restaurant since you were 15 years old? What about school? Did you go to junior high? Well, in answer to the question from you perceptive brats, you see what I did there? That's a reference to Full Metal Alchemist, check it out. As you might have guessed, I started working right after I graduated from high school. I'll give a little information in my background to explain why. I'm actually the eldest sibling of 9, so I'm from a pretty big family. I may have a lot of siblings, but that doesn't necessarily mean that my parents loved kids. To be honest, they would probably say something like, oh, we didn't mean to, but before we knew it, there were 9 kids running around the house. They're such a pain in the butt to take care of. I was the eldest son, then the eldest daughter was born, the second son, the third son, the second daughter, the fourth son, the third daughter, the fourth daughter, and then finally their 5th son was born. They have 5 sons and 4 daughters, and they didn't plan parenthood like other families might do. The worst part was that they were always having trouble with money, so the moment I graduated from high school, they took that as a chance to kick me out of the house. Luckily enough, even though they had to kick me out, they didn't start demanding that I work and put in money to pay the bills. They didn't say anything. They just wanted me out. Obviously, the only motive they had was that they wanted to save a little more on food and clothing. However, once I was out on the streets, I had no idea what to do. I had only just graduated from junior high, and the only personal belongings I had brought with me were my school bag and uniform. I couldn't believe that there were still people that would kick out their own child out of the house in this day and age, so I had nothing but despair for my own future. But I couldn't give up. I'd been saving money in secret, in an old piggy bank I'd kept in my school bag. I sat down on a park bench to count how much I had, and figured out how much it was and how much it might last me. I can't give up. It looks like this money will last me a while, but I gotta find a job and a place to stay. My stomach won't stop growling, and as I was looking around the town looking for a cheap place to eat, I noticed an old soba restaurant. It had a sign posted out front saying big servings of curry for the usual price today only. It was a mystery to me why a soba restaurant would be serving curry, but the more I thought about it, the more my stomach begged me for some food, so I decided to go in and give it a try.
Hey, welcome.
Hi, can I have 1 serving of the big curry?
Oh, you're here for the curry? You've got good taste, kid.
Yes, please. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
Really? Well then eat as much as you can.
The old man smiled as he brought out a large bowl of rice topped up with steaming curry. It smelled so good, I started swallowing down spoonful after spoonful, and I was delighted by how delicious it was. It's so good! It's the best curry I've ever had!
I bet it is. Curry made at soba restaurants are known to be some of the best. There's no soba chef that can't make a good bowl of curry.
I wasn't exaggerating. That curry I ate was some of the best I had ever eaten. I didn't think I'll ever forget the taste of that first spoonful of curry. I'll be treasuring that memory for the rest of my life.
By the way, kid, are you here alone? Where are your parents? You got a lot of courage coming down to a broken old down restaurant like this one all by yourself.
Oh, sorry, I was really hungry, so I couldn't ignore the poster you put on the window outside. I really wanted to eat something warm. I may just be a kid, but I've got money, so you don't have to worry, I'll pay for my meal.
That's okay, but usually when kids your age come to the restaurants, they're with their parents. This might be none of my business, but I'm a little worried to see you here on your own.
Yeah, a lot has happened. So I didn't have any choice but to leave my parents' house. I'm looking for work and a place to stay because I can't go back.
Seriously? In this day and age? You're still a middle schooler, aren't you? You're gonna start working?
Yeah, I know, it's pretty ridiculous.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more?
I gave in to the old man's persistence and I told him everything about my life and what had happened to me at my home. He stayed quiet as he listened to my story and didn't interrupt me once, but when I was done, he knew everything there was to know and he clapped me on the shoulder.
Alright, I'll hire you. You can work here with me. It's a little small, but I've also got a room that I can lend you.
What? But I've never worked at a soba restaurant before. I've never even made soba. I don't think…
That's fine, I'm taking charge of the cooking, so I just need help with the cleaning and taking care of the customers' orders, and washing up and other errands like buying stuff from the supermarket. I'll probably ask you to help me with some of the cleaning at my house, too. My wife passed away last year, and I've been so busy with work that I haven't been able to keep up with the housework. It looks like a herd of elephants has stampeded through it.
If it's cleaning that you want me to do, then I think I might be able to help. I'll do everything I can, thank you. Just like that, I was picked up off the streets by the old man that owned the soba restaurant. His name was Yusaku Sakuma, and he became a very important person to me. The soba restaurant was well loved by the locals and had a lot of regulars who would always come to eat daily, others once a week and some once a month. The owner told me that it had been open for over 90 years, since his father opened it as a young man. Mr. Yusaku was the second-generation owner and he was very proud of it. I spent my days waking up early to clean up the restaurant and then take care of the house.
Whoa, the living room looked like it had a bomb dropped on it, but now it's completely clean. You did a good job, kid. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. I even got praise from the regulars.
Oh, what a sweet little boy. Let me give you a candy for working so hard. Here you go.
Thank you very much.
This kid's got a lot of courage, you know. He was kicked out of his parents' house, but he didn't use that as an excuse to become a hooligan. He's an honest worker. He'll be working here from now on. So I hope that you'll watch over him, too.
Oh, really? That must have been very difficult for you. I know. Why don't you take these oranges home with you? I don't want you getting sick from working so hard.
Really? I can have them? Thank you very much. I'm so happy. It's the first time I've been given a present like this. All my things were also my siblings' things, too. I'll save the oranges for later because I want to savor them.
Oh, what a good boy. Yusaku, make sure you feed him properly, okay? He deserves so much better.
I know that. I'll take good care of him.
As you can see, Pops and— oh, I'm calling Mr. Yusaku Pops because he asked me to. Pops and the regulars all make sure that I'm doing okay, and they all want me to be happy and healthy. I was lucky enough to be surrounded by some very good people, and I was able to enjoy my time working at the restaurant. And then, 1 year after I had started working at the restaurant, everything changed.
Hey kid, I've got something I want to talk to you about.
Yeah? What is it?
Have I ever told you that I've got a son?
You've got a son? This is the first time I've heard of him.
I thought so. His name is Yuji, and he tells me that he's resigned from his job so that he's gonna come back and work with us here at the restaurant. I've got no idea why, but that's what he says.
Oh, so he's gonna be the one who's taking over the restaurant?
Oh, I wonder about that. He's never been interested in making soba, and he never mentioned being willing to become my heir. But ever since I told him about you, he suddenly announced that he's gonna come and work with me, and showing interest for the first time ever. I don't really understand what he's thinking.
But you must be happy. You were saying that you were looking for someone to take over the restaurant, right? If it's your own son, then there'll be less to worry about, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. It's worth a try. I guess I'll have to train him and teach him all the recipes.
Not long after that, Pop's son Yuji came over to the home and started to work at the restaurant. Yuji is 21 years older than I am. When we first met, I was 16 years old and he was already 37.
Yuji, this is the kid I was talking about. He's living in the spare room rent-free in exchange for working as a cleaner/waiter in the restaurant. Kid, this is my son, Yuji. I hope you get along.
My name is Ichiro Matsuyama. I'm looking forward to working with you. Hey, old man, you're not planning on letting this brat take over the restaurant, are you? I won't allow it.
What are you talking about? The kid's still 16. I'm not thinking about making him take over, and neither is he. Not yet, anyway. That's something we'll think about in the future, okay?
What? Dad, I want you to make sure that you swear that you won't make him the next owner. If you don't swear, then I won't be able to focus on my training. What's the point of me doing this if you suddenly tell me he's the one who's gonna be taking over?
What? You're being ridiculous, Yuji.
Swear it, Dad.
Listen to me, Yuji. You've never set foot in this restaurant before, have you? And you haven't even shown any interest in making soba. So why should I promise you that you'll be the next owner? I don't know why you suddenly changed your mind and came back here, but I'm only going to allow someone I can trust and that I've acknowledged to stand up in my kitchen. Even if you are my son, I'm not going to exempt you from that. I'm not going to let you work here if you're going to be half-hearted about your training. If you can't be serious about this, then get out.
Yuji was struck silent by the strong words that Pops had responded with. I'm pretty much a complete stranger, so I had never dreamed of becoming the heir to Pop's soba restaurant. More importantly, I was still a complete beginner when it came to cooking. I'd never been trusted with making any of the meals on the menu at the restaurant yet. But in the year following Yuji's return to the restaurant, Pops taught Yuji how to make soba noodles from scratch and how to prepare tempura to top off the toba. Out of a consideration for me, Pops took me aside one day and explained that I was still young, so I had plenty of time to learn everything. But that he had to teach Yuji first because he was already in his late 30s. He assured me that he only wanted to prioritize Yuji's training because an old dog can't learn new tricks. I was grateful that Pops was worried that I might feel like I was being overlooked, but if anything, it'd be easier for me if Yuji took over the restaurant. I could avoid the needless friction, and like Pops said, I was still young. In a few years, once I had enough money, I might want to go and do something else. And that would mean that I would have to leave the restaurant. That's why I felt that Pop's decision was the correct one, and I was comfortable with whatever it led to. A few years passed and I had become 19. It had been 4 years since I arrived at the restaurant, and next year I'd be facing a milestone in my life. I'd be 20. It was clear that Yuji didn't like me, and we didn't get along that well. Whenever Pops was in the restaurant, he wouldn't dare do anything. When Pops was out, though, he would jump at the chance to bully me. Seriously, I don't know how you tricked my old man into taking you in. I can't see the worth in keeping around an uneducated, poor, scrawny, short brat like you around. You should be out on the streets. If I was you, I'd be too embarrassed to be alive. I would have ended myself by now. I'm lucky I'm the complete opposite, though. I went to a university, I have more money, and I'm a tall, handsome guy. You can't even compare yourself to someone like me. Okay, I understand mentioning my education and my height, but I don't think the amount of money we have is any different. We both work in the same restaurants and we earn the same. You're just a pathetic part-timer, whereas I'm the man that's gonna take over this restaurant. Right. This is why the uneducated idiots like you piss me off. You don't even understand why I'm better than you. Now hurry up and get the cleaning done. I'm already finished. Then wash the dishes. That's finished too? What? Then get out of here, okay? You're in my way. I don't even want to look at you. Get out? But it's not my lunchtime yet. I've gotta be here in case I gotta take orders, you know? He would make snide comments to try and bring me down and to make himself look superior. For a guy that went to college, he didn't really have a wide range of vocabulary, so it didn't really bother me that much. I have a feeling that Cinderella's evil stepmother would do a better job of making me cry than Yuji ever would, so I'm glad that I'm not Cinderella.
Hey boys, I'm back. You haven't been arguing while I've been out, have you? I want you to both get along, alright?
Don't worry, Pops, it's nothing you have to worry about. We're getting along fine.
Really? Anyway, Yuji, didn't you just get an order from Mr. Kawada on 3rd Street? Haven't you started preparing for that?
Crap.
Hurry up and get it done.
Yeah. Why isn't Matsuyama in charge of delivering, though? I don't know why I gotta bother taking some stupid Silva all the way to 3rd Street. I wish I could, but I don't have a license yet. I want to get a license using my own money, so I'm still saving up. Just like you said, I'm poor, so it's gonna take me a lot longer before I can drive.
Hey kid, I'm sorry for the way Yuji's always treating you. He's always had a short temper, but it's clearly too late for him to change.
It's okay, Pops. I'll be happy as long as he learns how to make your soba soup base. I won't expect anything more, okay?
I think it's still gonna take a while though. That reminds me, there's something I wanted to ask you, kid.
What is it?
It's about my special curry. Yuji's not interested in learning how to make it, and I'm at a loss at how to convince him. Our main menu is soba, and most of our tempura is vegetable and prawn, but I'm particular about the vegetables and the pork meat I purchase solely for the curry. I've got a contract with a completely different farmer just for those vegetables, and the rice does cost a lot, but I believe it's worth it. As for Yuji, he thinks that it's just a waste of time and money. If he ever does take over the restaurant, I think that the curry option will disappear from the menu.
No way! But no one else can make curry that good. He can't get rid of it.
Thanks, Ichiro. I was hoping you would say that. That's why I've decided I want to entrust my curry recipe to you.
Pops!
I'm begging you, kid. This will be the last thing I ever ask of you, okay? So think of it as my final wish. I don't need anything else, okay?
Don't say it like that. You're making it sound like you're gonna die soon. Of course, I'd be happy to learn the recipe for your curry.
Thanks, Ichiro. I owe you one. But I hope you'll understand that Yuji can't know about this. We've got to do it early in the morning while he's still asleep. Otherwise, I won't hear the end of it. I can teach it to you and practice in the morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I'm sure that you'll be perfect at it in no time.
Understood. Pops was already 70 years old when he asked me to learn how to make his curry. He must have felt like he didn't have long left, and he wanted to make sure that someone knew his recipe before he passed away. After that, I began training until I could make his curry in the exact same way that he had made it up until now. Aside from the poster outside, this curry isn't officially part of the menu, and it isn't printed on any of them, so it's a sort of secret option that the regulars choose because they know about it. I want to make sure that this recipe would stay alive even if Pops gave up the restaurant to Yuji. That was the only thing I could think about.
Welcome in!
I'd like a table for one.
Sure, take a seat at the counter.
Wow, she is really pretty. I'd never seen a customer like her, so it must be her first time. I hadn't seen her around town either, which made me think that she was new to the area. Our restaurant customers are mainly regulars, so newcomers like her stand out, and she especially stood out because of how beautiful she was. I wasn't surprised when Yuji jumped in to take her order.
Hi, I've never seen you here before. Is this your first time?
That's right, it is. It's a hobby of mine to go out and eat at independent restaurants. So I decided to give this restaurant a try today.
Oh, really? Well, we're honored to have you. I recommend having the tempura soba. It's the best item on the menu. What do you think?
It sounds lovely, but I'm sorry. I've already decided what I'd like to have. I'd come to eat the curry. I've only got an appetite for curry right now.
Huh?
I saw the poster outside. It said that you're serving large portions of curry for just a lunchtime period, and I thought, I've got to have it. I've heard that soba restaurants make the best curry because they add a dash of soba soup base to it. And apparently the spices and the umami flavor make the best coupling. I'd love to try the soba one day, but today I want to eat curry.
You've got good taste, miss. It's an honor to have a savvy customer like you ask for the curry. We'll prepare it for you right away, so give us a minute, will ya?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Ichido, you're up! It's your very first customer, so do your best. Don't worry, you've prepared enough for this.
Yes, sir.
Your first customer? What do you mean?
Well, I've actually inherited the recipe for Pop's curry, and I've been practicing it for a while, but Pops only gave me the all clear to serve it to the next customer that asked for a plate the other day. So you're my first customer.
What? I didn't know that.
Really? That's wonderful. I'm excited to taste it. I'll dig in right away. This is delicious. It's the best curry I've had.
Really? You like it? That's great. Thank goodness.
This really is a curry like no other. This unique taste must be bonito flakes if I'm not wrong. You must be using bonito flakes in the soup base. You probably got some lard in there too. It's a deep, rich flavor, but the mellow tones make it a mild curry that's suitable for all ages.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! If you keep on going, you're gonna reveal our trade secret to the entire world! You must have very sensitive taste buds if you can tell that there's bonito flakes in the soup base.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I just really love curry and couldn't help but admire the strength and care you put into it.
I'm happy that you've got so much praise for it. It's the happiest thing that a chef can receive, right, Ichiro?
Yes, sir.
It really was the perfect curry. Thank you so much. I'm sure I'll be back to taste the curry again.
After finishing her plate, the customer thanked us and left the restaurant beaming. And then I realized that Yuji was sending death glares over to where I was standing.
What's that supposed to mean? Why the hell does that bread know the recipe for the curry when you haven't even taught me? I'm the one that's supposed to take over the restaurant, not him!
You're the one trying to remove the curry from the menu, remember? What's the point in teaching you if you don't understand how important it is? This curry recipe is a family recipe that I learned how to do from my mom and dad. I can't just let it disappear if you don't care about it. If you're not interested in continuing it because it's not profitable, then of course I would teach it to the only person who cherishes it as much as I do.
But that doesn't mean that you can just teach it to a complete stranger. He's not family. It's not a family secret if you share it with an outsider.
You may not think of him as family, but Ichiro already is like another son to me. I've taken care of him, and he's taken good care of me since he started living here when he was 15 years old. It doesn't matter that he's got a different last name. He's my boy.
Damn it!
Anyway, considering your age, you're gonna have to become the next owner. So that doesn't mean that you have the right to tell me what I can and can't do with my curry recipe. I've already made up my mind to share it with Ichiro, and as you just saw, it was a success.
Screw you, old man! You bastard!
After making it clear how he felt about me learning the curry recipe, Yuji stormed out of the restaurant. Pops,
I'm so sorry about that, Ichiro. I feel terrible for the way he treats you.
You don't have to apologize, Pops.
Ichiro, I've wanted to tell you this for a while now, but I'm thinking about retiring and giving up the restaurant to Yuji soon.
What? Already? But
I'm getting on in years, and it's difficult for me to move around the way I used to. I even had a few tests done at the hospital, and the doctors told me I'm starting to show signs of dementia. It's not serious, but I really am getting old.
No way! But you look so energetic. There's no way.
Well, yeah, right now I can fight off the symptoms with just exercise and medicine, but it's not gonna help for long. One day it won't be enough. I can't ignore the changes that are happening to me, kid. I want to tidy up and pass the restaurant over to the next generation before it's too late. I've got no idea what I'm doing. I'm planning on going into a retirement home so I don't cause any trouble for you or Yuji.
I could tell that Pops had already made up his mind. His expression was serious, and I couldn't even bring myself to argue with him. Once Yuji came back, Pops explained everything to him as well, but I didn't expect the reaction that Yuji had. He looked like he was in good spirits in comparison to when he had stormed out of the restaurant, and once he knew that he was going to officially take over the restaurant, his attitude towards me became more and more arrogant by the day. My worries for the future of the restaurant only grew.
Hello.
Oh, the curry lady. Welcome in.
The curry lady? You've already got a nickname for me.
Oh, sorry. It slipped out before I could stop it.
You don't look very happy. Did something happen?
Yeah, a lot happened.
I was wondering if you'd like to have dinner with me after you finish your shift. There's something I'd like to talk to you about.
What?
I know another very delicious curry place, and I'd like you to try it.
Yeah, sure. Just like that, I had a dinner date with the curry lady. And I found out that the curry lady's name was Reiko Kayasugi, and that she was 22 years old. She was still attending college, majoring in economics.
Ichiro, how old are you right now? Are you still in high school?
Oh, I'm actually 19. I'm gonna be 20 next year.
What? Seriously? I'm sorry, I judged you by your height. Please forgive me.
It's okay, I'm used to it. A lot of people confuse me for a high school student all the time. Apparently, I'm the same height as an average middle school girl in her 3rd year.
19. But you're still very young for someone who made such a delicious curry. You must have worked very hard to bring out that flavor. I have a lot of respect for you, Ichiro.
Thank you very much, but it looks like we won't be serving curry at that restaurant for much longer.
Why not? Can you tell me?
I told Reiko everything about Pop's restaurant, about Yuji and the issues with the curry menu. Reiko stayed silent for a while, as though she was deep in thought, and when she opened her mouth to speak…
The truth is, my family also owns a food business. We're running a cafe, but we have some lunch options. That's why I'm studying economics and management at college. I want to learn how to become a good business owner.
Oh, really?
And I was actually wondering, if you're okay with it, that is, if you would come and work with me in our cafe. I think that would be one way of continuing the curry recipe you inherited from Mr. Yusaku.
But…
I think you would regret it if you lost that recipe just because Yuji doesn't want to use it in his restaurant, wouldn't you?
I'll talk to Pops about it. It's his recipe after all, but even if I can't get his permission for the curry, I'm still planning to leave the restaurant. Frankly, there's no point in me staying if Pops isn't there with me anymore. Yuji's planning on making a lot of changes, so it won't even feel like it's his restaurant anymore.
Oh, really? But don't worry, I want you to come and work with me, whether you bring the curry recipe or not. I believe that you can make a delicious curry of your own, even if you don't have Mr. Yusaku's recipe to follow.
You sound like you really do love curry, Reiko. The truth was, Pops had already left the restaurant and had begun his life in the retirement home. When he announced that he would be leaving the restaurant, the regulars were all sad that they wouldn't be able to see him at the restaurant ever again, so they went out of their way to plan a leaving party for him, and they sent him off on his last day. And then they all left to go home, and they each shook my hand and told me that they were looking forward to seeing me as the new owner. However, each time someone mentioned me taking over at the restaurant, Yuji would intervene and announce that he was the 3rd-generation owner. The moment they heard the news, all the regulars looked grave, and they just headed home without saying anything to Yuji. That day, I became resolved to leave the restaurant as soon as Pops was settled in his last retirement home. Then on the last day, I said to myself my goodbyes to all the regulars I'd gotten to know so well, and left the restaurant with all my things. I had spent 4 entire years working in the restaurant and living in the house behind it with Pops. Leaving it behind was more painful than the days that I was forced out of my parents' house when I was still 15 years old. Thank you. Goodbye. 6 months later, I'm working at a cafe that Reiko and her family owns, but it's a much bigger and grander cafe than I imagined it would be, and it took me a while to get used to how prim and proper it was. I found out once I started working with her that Reiko's family was actually famous in this area for their wealth. Her parents were the owners of several other food businesses, but this cafe was a business that Reiko's grandparents had left for her, so it was already decided that she would be running the cafe in the future, when she was done with her studies. Thankfully, they had been looking for some kitchen staff, so I was hired without any problems. We introduced Pop's curry to the menu soon after I began working with her, and just after a few months, the old Soba restaurant curry became the best-selling dish.
I knew it! I knew that your curry would be popular with our customers.
I never imagined that it'd be this popular. Pops will be so happy. It was such a popular dish that we knew that we would be sold out by the time lunchtime came around, and it didn't take long for it to be received by the nickname the Phantom Curry from customers who had missed the chance to eat it several times in a row. However, I knew that a person wouldn't keep quiet if they heard the rumors about our curry. Hey, where's Matsuyama? I know he's here. Hello, Yuji, what's the problem? Everything's a problem when it comes to you. You stole my family's curry recipe. You should be ashamed of yourself. Take it off the menu right now. It was Yuji who had taken over the Pops restaurant as the 3rd-generation owner, but I can imagine that the business was probably not doing so well after Pops retired. The main reason was probably that the regulars who'd been coming to eat because they wanted to see Pops had disappeared, and partly because the curry that had been struck from the menu, despite being a favorite with most, if not all of our customers. Thanks to Yuji being too stubborn to appreciate the customer's will over his profits, there wasn't any more reason for people to come over and eat at his Soba restaurant. I warned you several times that it'd be a bad idea to remove the curry from the menu, remember? I told you that you wouldn't regret getting rid of it, but you only cared about the costs. And you said that it wasn't worth keeping. You got rid of it as soon as Pops left the restaurant. That's why Pops entrusted the curry recipe to me. He wanted me to have it.
But that recipe is my family's recipe. You can't use it without my family's permission. You're thieves.
If you say that we've stolen it, then why don't you serve that curry at your restaurant as well? If you can't, then it's because their previous owner didn't trust you enough to give you the recipe. It's your own fault. But Ichiro received training from Mr. Yusaku, and even got his permission to use that recipe in my cafe. We haven't done anything wrong.
What the hell? You're lying!
Just like Reiko said, I'd already gone to visit Pops from the retirement home on the day I left the restaurant, and I told him everything that had happened, including Reiko's job offer. When he heard that I wanted to make his curry at her cafe, he began crying tears of relief, telling me that he was happy to give me permission and rejoiced that his family's curry would continue to be shared with the world.
Mr. Yusaku even signed a contract agreeing to give up the recipe to Ichiro. Of course, we didn't force him to sign anything, and we even had our lawyers witness the whole thing just in case. He agreed to all of the above because he must have been anticipating your coming here. Now, we're very busy and you must be too. If you have the time to be making an embarrassment of yourself, then why don't you return to your own restaurant and work hard to get your customers back?
Yuji didn't even have the words to argue back to Reiko and ended up leaving the cafe looking disheartened. Within a few months' time, the restaurant went bankrupt and the entire building was gone. I don't know the details, but Yuji probably ended up in a lot of debt and ended up with no choice but to sell the land. I don't know where he disappeared to, but I have no intention of searching for him. However, thanks to her connections to those in the food business, Reiko was able to warn the local restaurants and cafes about Yuji, so I doubt that he'll be able to find another job in the food business. I just hope that he learns from his mistakes wherever he does go. As for Reiko and I, we got married and we're doing our best to run the cafe together. We're always thinking of ways that we can improve our customer experience, and every now and then I go to visit Pops at the retirement home and we spend hours talking about our time at the restaurant together.
The moment I saw you, kid, I knew that I had to protect you. I swore that I would do anything to raise you and keep you safe, but look at you now. You've grown into a good man. I'm so proud of you, son.
It's all thanks to you, Pops. I've still got a lot I want to share with you, so you gotta stay healthy, alright?